this podcast, Lord, and I pray that you use me to just get your message across to anyone who's listening or anyone who's watching, Lord, and I pray that you are with me and you are with all of my viewers and anyone who is scared, Lord. I pray that they're able to be helped by this podcast, Lord. I pray that anyone who has any sort of fear understands the message that we are getting across today, Lord, and I just pray that you are with us and you are leading us. And in the holy name of Jesus Christ, Yeshua, Yahweh the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, my Lord God, I pray. Amen. Are we live? Make sure we're live real quick. Looks like we're live.
Jesus gon' save him. I found Christ in my life, changed it, saved my soul, now say his name. Yeah, Jesus is my Novocaine. Yeah, Jesus is my Nova. Jesus gon' save.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Revolution Podcast. First, I want to apologize for. I know I'm a little late this time. But I didn't know for sure that I was even going to do this episode this week. I know I said that I'd be back to the schedule, but I just had a lot of changes going on in my life recently. And I didn't know that this was something that I wanted to continue doing. So I've been struggling a lot recently. I've been battling a lot of fear and just lack of courage and just not feeling like myself, just feeling like I'm not doing good enough. And so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about this episode. I didn't even realize that I was dealing with this. I just felt wrong. I felt like something was wrong, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what I was really dealing with until Friday night. We hosted a worship night for our young adults group at my church, and we were asked to just pair up with someone and talk about what we were dealing with, what we were going through, and it just all hit me right then. I almost teared up in front of my friend Evan, and I just told him, I said, man, I don't even know how to say it, but I'm scared. I'm just battling so much fear in my life right now and so much change, and I don't know what to do about it. And he helped me, and I've been praying, I've been fasting, I've been just trying really hard to overcome this fear. And then something, Chi, get down. Sorry, I'm in my living room, so I got my cats with me today. But I've been Evan said something to me whenever we were talking that really helped me out. And I've been watching a show on Netflix, Cobra Kai, which I'm very late. I know a lot of people have been watching Cobra Kai for years, and I just recently started it. But I've been where are we at? Why am I frozen? Am I frozen for you guys? Oh, I'm not frozen. I'm just sitting still. um Anyways, so Cobra Kai Friday night said the exact same thing. Or no, I think it was last night, Saturday night. Said the same thing that Evan said to me on Friday night. And it was, everyone deals with fear, but there's two ways you can deal with it. And you can, sorry, I tried to fit that in. You can let fear overcome you, or you can overcome fear. You can let it tear you down, or you can let it build you up. And I feel like this is something a lot of people deal with, especially in the faith, or if you're on the fence about faith. I remember coming into faith, I was so terrified of the idea of not being good enough. And so I have my notes here. And I got some Bible verses I want to go over, and then some stories in the Bible I want to go over, some stories from church, and then I just got a lot that I want to talk about. First, I want to start by saying the fear that I'm dealing with, and right now I just fear. In my first episode of this podcast, I talked about my list of goals, and it's a ongoing process. The first one I said was I want to stop fearing the judgment of man and just fear the judgment of God. And I'll say some days I do good at that. Some days are better than others. Some days are worse than others. And recently a lot I've been fearing judgment from man. I fear that I'm not good enough. I just started a new job, and I'm an apprentice electrician. And see, I don't even know the correct terminology to say that. And I just feel that, like, I fear that I'm not doing good enough. I'm not picking it up as good as I should be. I'm scared that I'm not going to live up to my expectations. I fear that I'm not always doing the right thing, and I know some of my viewers have seen that in some previous episodes. Excuse me. Where I'm just living for the world, and I'm being normal, and I'm being like everyone else, and I'm trying to fit in with non-believers, and I'm trying to be someone who I'm not. And I don't know, go look at my short. I just made a short yesterday, and it's called Time to Stop Pretending to Be Someone I'm Not. And it's less than a year of my life this past year. And I just I fear failure. I fear that, like, what if I don't have what it takes to live the life that God wants me to live? And I fear disappointment. I fear letting those around me down. I fear letting my God down. I fear letting myself down. I fear so much. Like, there's so much more that I couldn't even talk about. And or I couldn't even write down. But we talked today about living for the world, and today's Sunday, so we had church. We talked about living for this world and living for heaven. And do y'all see this cat? I gotta get back to my other thing. I was just making sure we were live, but do y'all see this cat right here? Did y'all just see that? She wants to say hi. Say hi, Chi-Chi. Anyways, we talked in church today about living for this world and living a normal life. And my pastor asked something, and it was, are you ready to not live a normal life? And, I was sitting there thinking, and I wrote this down. I don't want to be normal. I want to be righteous. I want to be like Daniel. I want to be like David. I want to be like Paul. I want to live a good, righteous life. I don't want to be Jesus, but I want to be as close to Jesus as I could possibly be, right? You want to be Christ-like. And Daniel, David, Paul, and Jesus didn't have fear. They didn't. I think Paul struggled with fear a little bit, but Daniel, David, and Jesus never were fearful. Never. And we'll get into that in a little bit. I just want to let me get my Bible out, and we're gonna go over some of these things, some of these verses and stories real quick that just show, and I'm gonna share what they mean to me. Feel free to leave it in the chat. I might not read chats very fast, but feel free to leave it in the chat or to leave it in the comments after the video comes out of what you take away from these verses. So I got a bunch of bookmarks. I'm trying to do this all with one hand. These are 2 bookmarks that I could have used. Instead, I didn't. Let's see, where are we at? Where's my first one? I think the first one is Esther, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's Joshua. I think. Is Joshua before or after Esther? Joshua's before. Sorry, I'm still new to everything, guys. So y'all gotta bear with me a little bit. But yeah, Joshua 1:9. It says, "This is my command: be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or be discouraged. For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." I'm reading out of the NLT Bible today just because I think a lot of my viewers are non-believers or new believers, and I want to make sure that I feel like if you're just dabbling into faith for the first time or you're still new to everything, the NLT is the best way to start because it's the easiest to understand. As you grow into your faith, you can try different types of Bibles. Right now, I have NIV I've been reading a lot, and I want the ESV. I think that's going to be my hearted Bible. But anyways, I'll read it again. "This is my command: be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." There's a song by Caleb Gordon, a Christian rapper, one of my favorites personally. He kind of actually was what got me into Christian rap. And it was a song called "Wherever I Go." And I mean, you can tell by the title, it has a lot to do with this verse. And it's just... Sorry, I got like something's wrong with my mouth. But, I try to remember that, I've said it even in, a lot of this is going to be like my first video or maybe even my testimony a little bit, where it's God sees everything, and whether you think so or not, God knows what's going on. He knows what you're dealing with. He knows what you're going through, and He has a plan to get you through all of it. He just, that goes with my first goal of the year is like, I don't want to fear anything except for my God. I don't want to fear man. I don't want to fear anything besides God, because God's judgment is the only judgment that really matters. And oh my gosh, this next one's so far away. But yeah, like, I'm still waiting on that sponsor, Celsius. I don't know what's up with y'all. They've been seeing my Instagram stories. Speaking of Instagram stories, before I get into this next verse, I've been doing a 30-day fast from all social media, and I've broken it a little bit. There was some... I wasn't going to even speak on this, but I guess I'm walking right into it. There was some Facebook beef, rap beef, and I was told, it's all entertainment, it's all friendly, everything's cool. And I'm sure it was, and I don't have any problem with that. But it was the fact that I stooped so low. I felt like I was kind of halfway up the ladder, and I climbed back down so I could punch down at people, so I could, it was so unholy of me to even indulge in this, but back to living for the world, that's something that I'm not going to do again. I don't want to live for this world. I don't want to please the people around me. I want to please my God. And this next one I have was doesn't necessarily speak of fear, but to me it's about courage and not showing fear and not being fearful in any circumstance. And it's Esther chapter 4 verse 16, the end of the verse. Esther was going to see the king, and there was like a decree or something where you couldn't see the king at this certain point. I think it was like for 30 days, because it's very similar to the story of Daniel, but different at the same time. And you couldn't see the king for 30 days without him calling to you. And there was just so many issues going on. And Esther and Mordecai were making this plan. And Esther was like, I don't care. I'm going to see the king. And it says here, though it is against the law, I will go see the king. If I must die, I must die. And NLT is weak for that. I know they're trying to make it easy to understand, but the ESV says, if I perish, I perish. And that just struck me so hard. You know, that's the kind of faith and the courage that I want to have when it comes to my God, is like, if I must die in a situation for something I do that is righteous, for living a holy life, if I must go see the king when it's illegal and he's going to kill me for going to see him, that's God's plan for me. You know, if God wants me to die right now, God will let me die whenever he is ready to take me. And I mean, you know, I never really read Esther like that, because I didn't think of it as like an interesting book. I mean, it just kind of never really made sense to me. But hearing that one verse, I was like, whoa, I need to read this entire book. And I haven't yet, I'll be honest, but I want to. And I'm going through Revelations right now with Billy, my tutor, my mentor. And he's in probably one of my favorite episodes ever of this show was with Billy. And we just, I mean, that's how every conversation me and him have. You know, we just talk for hours upon hours every time we get together. And basically he was just, we're going through Revelations, but I really want to get into Esther whenever I have the time. And I have the time. I just have to make the time. You know, I have to devote that time to my God. And where are we at? We've been live for 18 minutes. This is going to be a very short episode. I've already gone through some of the verses. But I have a couple Psalms I want to read as well. Psalms and Proverbs are just two of the greatest books in the entire Bible. And I don't know if you're new, but if you are new and you hear me referring to books inside of the Bible, remember, the Bible is not a book. The Bible is a library. The Bible is a collection of books mashed into one. And anyways, we're going to go into Psalm 27 verse 1. Psalm 27 verse 1. The Lord is my light and my salvation, so why should I be afraid? The Lord is my fortress, protecting me from danger, so why should I tremble? And that goes back into what I was saying before. You know, God's with you. God will not leave you. He will not leave you behind. He will not forget about you. He has a plan, and his plans, I mean, if you have read the Bible, you know that, like, his plans work. He doesn't fail. There's a song we sing in church almost every Sunday, and it's that's what it is. You know, you've never failed in the history of creation. So why would you fail now? Why would I tend to let my mind trick itself into believing that you're not for me, or you're not with me, and you're just, why would I ever think you're incapable? There's another song, More Than Able, where we talk about who am I to deny what the Lord can do? You know, the Lord could do anything and everything. Through him all things are possible. And that's something that I feel like we as believers always struggle to remember, is He makes the impossible possible. He split the raging sea. He conquered death. He lifted other men from the dead. He walked on water. He turned water into wine. I mean, there's so many. He healed the blind. There's so many different miracles. What does it say in the end of John? It says, there was so many miracles he performed that there's not enough paper to write it all down. He said if we were to log every single miracle that Jesus performed in the Bible, we wouldn't have enough paper. And it's crazy. Our next one, Psalm 34, verse 4, I prayed to the Lord, and he answered me, and he freed me from all my fears. And that's something that I'm currently experiencing right now. And it's literally, so whenever I pray, I don't pray for an easy life. I pray that I enjoy my battles. And I didn't pray for God. I swear I'm itching my back, guys. I don't know how that looks. But I don't pray for an easy life. I pray that I enjoy my battles. And whenever I prayed about my fear, I didn't pray that I wasn't scared. That's not something I prayed for. I prayed that God would show me the way to use that fear to my advantage. Instead of letting it tear me down, teach me to use that fear to build me up. And just wow, You got all these cards I was trying to use, and I was scared I was gonna rip my paper. But yeah, God is just so powerful and so great, and there's nothing better I could ever ask for. But yeah, you don't want to ask. I'm not here to tell you how to pray. Like I say, I'm still very new to all of this. But I know for me, I'm not praying to have an easy life. I feel like as a man, my life isn't meant to be easy. I feel like I'm supposed to have struggles, and I'm supposed to have hardship, and I'm supposed to be unhappy and be hurt sometimes. That's what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? And so I don't pray that I'm not scared and I can face all my fears. I pray that I take my fear and use it to my advantage to become stronger. Our next one is Psalm 56, verse 3. I feel like I do so good on these. Sorry, I'll get back to that in a second. But I feel like I do so good on these podcasts whenever I have a guest now. Even my second episode was with Ian, and compared to my first episode, it was dramatically different. And then I had a couple other guests on. I think I had Levi, Ian again, and then maybe my testimony. Yeah, because my testimony was the fifth one. Excuse me. And whenever have a guest or someone else to talk with, it's so easy to me. I'm not perfect. I'm not great at it, but I'm a lot better than whenever I'm solo. I thought whenever I did my testimony that it was going to be a breeze, and it was just so weird and awkward. Because just sitting here by yourself talking to a camera, especially when there's no one in the chat. Is there anyone in the chat? Let me check. Still no one in the chat. It's just so weird. But like I said on one of my previous episodes, most of my viewers come from after the stream anyways. But it's just so awkward doing it by yourself. And I got my microphone. This is the microphone I use for my music normally. I have a different podcasting microphone. And whenever I do these solo episodes, I'm going to start using this microphone because it's a condenser, so you have to speak into it. Whereas on my podcasting microphone, it can pick up pretty much everything. I was watching, me and Levi did a podcast, and I was watching it, and you could hear his girlfriend in the background. and she was like completely on the opposite side of the room. Whereas whenever me and Hayden did our last episode, we had to pass this. We tried to use this microphone, and we had to pass it back and forth, because you got to speak directly into it. But anyways, it's just so awkward and different doing these by yourself, because there's no one to pick up, like where I just said, because normally someone would have said something right there. Lee Guest would have said something, but it just I'm by myself today. I don't got no help. It's alright though. We got it. Psalm 56 verse 3. When I am afraid, I will put my trust in you. And I was gonna save this till the end. I might go back into it, but I have here in my notes, fear. There's an acronym for it that I didn't have in my notes, but fear. I think Big Sean. Shout out Big Sean. He was like my favorite rapper as a child. Fear is false evidence appearing real. But that's just an acronym, right? There's a bunch of different acronyms I've heard. My sister called me today, and I heard one from her, and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna say that on the podcast. But one thing I picked up from church was because, so it's so funny to me because I went into church today thinking that it wasn't great. Not because my pastor did bad or anything. My pastor did great. It was great. But I just was like upset because I've been struggling with fear, and we talked about moments and time and being normal, and I was like, dang, man, I really wish you were going to say what I personally was going through, not everybody else in the room. But, and it's still kind of all tied in together because I got the idea that, like, fear just is a lack of trusting God. Fear is a lack of having trust in God. And if you're struggling with fear, it's because you don't trust God enough. Because God has a perfect plan for everybody. And He doesn't fail. And if you're scared to take this new job, or you're scared that you're not doing good enough, God has you. He's got you where He wants you to be. He knows what He's doing. He's been doing this for 2,000 years since Christ has passed, and so just trust God. That's really all I got for that one, is just stop trying not to trust Him. This one's very popular. These next two are both very popular. I think probably other than, I won't even bring up John 3:16, but these are probably the two most popular verses in the Old Testament. And it's Isaiah 41:10. Isaiah 41:10. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. Do not be discouraged, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will hold you up with my victorious right hand. I feel like I say the same thing after every single verse, but I mean, trust God. What did I just say? He doesn't fail. His right hand is victorious. Look at my cat. Look at my Chi-Chi. Look at my Chi-Chi. But yeah, he's great. He doesn't. I heard church. Everyone's probably heard this. I don't know. It's got a couple million views. Not everyone, but a lot of people have seen it. Where there's a Gen Z Bible. You know about the Gen Z Bible. If not, look it up. It's hilarious. But he says he's reading it to his congregation, and it says like something where it's Angel Gabriel and Mary, and they're conversating back and forth amongst each other. And Angel Gabriel looks at her and says, "God doesn't even know how to take an L." But it's true, God does not lose. He doesn't lose. He doesn't know how to lose. It's not something he does. He's only ever won. God is a winner. And next most popular Old Testament verse, I think this one probably beats the last one even. Jeremiah. Everyone's been waiting for this one. Jeremiah 29:11. And remember, I'll just go ahead and get to the next one after this because this one's short. But what? Wait. Oh, we did Joshua, right? Yes. Be strong. Do not be afraid. Yes. Okay. But yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and repeat myself again, and say, he has a plan. He knows what he's doing, and you just have to trust him. Excuse me. Oh, we lost the camera. Oh. That's not good. Give me a second. I'm coming. Alright. We're good. We're back. We're live. Alright. But yes, God has a plan. Alright. And in case you don't believe me, in case you think I'm just talking to talk right now, Jeremiah 29:11 says, and I quote, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord." NLT says, but I'm a little more advanced than the NLT. I'll just say that. I've surpassed NLT tier. "For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. They are plans for good and not for disaster. Plans to give you a future and a hope." I didn't like that. I'm sorry. I know I love this verse. I have a jacket that says it on it. But I didn't like the way the NLT worded that at all. But yeah, and I'm sitting here thinking, like, I keep repeating myself in between these verses, There's a reason for that. Oh, we're going to come back to that because that's chapter. But there's a reason I'm repeating myself, and it's because 365 times, one time for every single day of the year, God says, "Do not fear. Do not be afraid." And so, yeah, I'm repeating myself because I want it to get through your head. I want you to understand what we're talking about, what we're saying. And this is going to be a short episode of me just saying the same things a bunch of times over and over and over again. Yeah, that's how we're going to do it. This next one is also going to be come back to because that one's special to me. This other one really resonated with me. We did this in my Bible study. We went over this 1st and 2nd Timothy. And these next two verses, one's from 1st Timothy and one's from 2nd Timothy. And I think there's literally a page. Yeah, there's one page in between these two verses. And this one really resonated with me because I'm 20 years old. I'm very young. And I feel like a lot of times I'm underestimated, or I can't do this because I'm young, or I'm not good enough because I'm young. No one's gonna listen to what I have to say because I'm young. Me and my stepmom, we have our debates all the time, and her go-to answer every single time we conversate is, "I'm older than you, so I know more." And it's cringy at the least. But anyways, 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 12. That's a lot of numbers. "Do not let anyone think less of you because you are young, Be an example to all believers in what you say, in the way you live, in your love, your faith, and your purity. And, that's something that I would say my parents are right about, because I expect people to listen to me whenever it comes to faith, because I've been studying it so much and I've just been trying to be so good. But at the same time, I'm giving into my temptation. I'm giving into my sin. And I'm saying one thing and then doing the opposite. And so I highlighted this one because even though it's not about fear, it is to me, because it's pretty much FOMO if you think about it. Fear of missing out. That's another thing I'm dealing with, is like, what if this is super fun and I miss it because I'm reading my Bible? Every time I think that, every single time I'm like, I don't want to read my Bible. I don't want to today. It's going to be boring. I don't want to just sit there and read. Every single time I beat that thought and I'm like, you know what? I have to do this. I got Bible study tomorrow. I haven't read a single one of my 3 chapters. I got to go. Every single time I'm like, holy. Every time it's amazing. It's great. But anyways, I say one thing and I do the other, and so this is something that I need to start applying to myself for real. And it's, yes, I'm young. Yes, I am young. But that's not why people don't listen to me or don't respect what I say or don't look up to me. It's because I say something and I do something else. And I gotta start being better, and that's what I was talking about at the beginning. I want to live righteously. I want to live a good life, not a bad life. And next, we'll get back to a little bit of fear talk. You scared yet? Where are we at? 37 minutes. Wow, this is dragging, and I'm almost done. Second Timothy, chapter 1, verse 7. Say it out loud for the ones in the back. For God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity. And timidity. I can't read. Timidity. For God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline. And that is what I need to be working on in my life right now, is self-discipline. And like I said, fear does not come from God. I didn't write that verse down. Hold on. This will give us some extra time anyways. God does not give us a spirit of fear. Hold on, I'm sorry. God does not give, excuse me. That's not the one I want. That's the one we just read. Maybe that's the one. I swear there's another one. Wait a minute. I got cross-references in my Bible. I got cross-references in my Bible and I'm not able to find it on the internet. Hey, shout out to Peter. Simon Peter. Okay, let me go back here and see if it's in the cross references. If not, I might have just read a different version of the same. Oh, I just took my thing out, but I know where Timothy's at. Timothy's towards the end. Not that far towards the end. Just past Revelation. Hold on one second. Got it. Aha. Aha. I knew it. Romans 8:15. Let's go back here. Oh, that should not be like that. Romans 8:15. So you have not received a spirit that makes you fearful slaves. Instead, you've received God's Spirit when He's adopted you as His own children. Now we call Him Abba Father. That was the wrong one. I think it was 2 Timothy 1:7, where it says, God, just a different translation, where it says God does not provide fear. God provides peace and love. Yeah. I think that's what I read. I think I just did all that for no reason, but at least I killed some time. Alright, before we wrap it up, I think I got a couple extra notes I want to go over. But there's one story. I was going to do a solo episode about this story in general, but I decided not to do that, and I was just going to include it in this because at the beginning I said I want to live like Daniel, and there's no better example of that than Daniel. Chapter 6 is the life that I believe all believers should aspire to live. Right? Bear with me. I don't know the names very well. I know the names, but I'm not good at pronunciating them. So I may mess some names up. And let me make sure. Yeah, this is right. Okay. Alright, yep. So we're going to go ahead and read Daniel chapter 6, go over the rest of my notes, and then we will wrap up from there. Darius the Mede. I can't read. Remember that too, so I don't know if I said that wrong. Darius the Mede decided to divide the kingdom into 120 provinces, and he appointed a higher officer to rule over each province. The king has also chose Daniel and 2 other administrators to supervise the high officers and protect the king's interest. Daniel soon proved himself more capable than all of the other administrators and high officers. Because of Daniel's great ability, the king made plans to place him over the entire empire. Verse 4. Then the other administrators of I'm trying to professionally read and it's just not happening. The other administrators of a high officer began searching for more fault in the way Daniel was handling government affairs, but they couldn't find anything to criticize or condemn. He was faithful, always responsible, and completely trustworthy. So they concluded our only chance of finding grounds for accusing Daniel will be in connection with the rules of his religion. So if they can trap Daniel in a sin or trap him in breaking the law of Moses, they got him. That was just me. That wasn't from the thing. Where are we at? Verse 6. So the administrators and the high officers went to the king and said, "Long live King Darius! We are all in agreement, we administrators, officials, high officers, advisors, and governors, that the king should make a law that will be strictly enforced. Give orders for the next 30 days. Any person who prays to anyone, divine or human, except to you, your majesty, will be thrown into the den of lions. And now your majesty, issue and sign this law so it cannot be changed, an official law of the Medes and the Persians, that cannot be revoked. So King Darius signed the law. He was like, yeah, I'm with that. I'm with that. I deserve this. I've been doing great. I'm the king. I believe that I deserve it. I'm in agreement. Let me go ahead and sign that. I don't know if you can tell, my Celsius has definitely started to kick in a little bit since before we started. But when Daniel learned the law had been signed, he went home, knelt down as usual in his upstairs room, with its windows open toward Jerusalem. He prayed 3 times a day, just as he has always done, giving thanks to his God. Then the officials went together to Daniel's house and found him praying and asking God for help. So they went straight to the king and reminded him about his law. Now remember, they're doing this because they're jealous of Daniel's, or the King Darius's admiration for Daniel. He loves Daniel. He does not want to throw Daniel in the lion's den. Remember that. It was all a setup. So they went to the king and reminded him about his law. Did you not sign a law that for the next 30 days, any person who prays to anyone, divine or human, except to you, your majesty, will be thrown in a den of lions? Yeah, the king replied. Well, he said yes. The king replied, that decision stands. It is an official law of the Medes and the Persians that cannot be revoked. Caught him stumbling. Then they told the king, that man Daniel, one of the captives from Judah, is ignoring you and your law. He still prays to his God 3 times a day. Hearing this, the king was deeply troubled, and he tried to think of a way to save Daniel. He spent the rest of his day looking for a way to get Daniel out of this predicament. In the evening, the men went together to the king and said, your majesty, you know that according to the law of the Medes and Persians, no law that the king signs can be changed. So at last the king gave orders for Daniel to be arrested and thrown into the den of lions. The king said to him, may your God, who you serve so faithfully, rescue you. See, he really is hoping. He's hoping. He's like, dude, you can't be wrong, all right? He's like, if you just broke the law to serve your God, please don't be wrong. A stone was brought and placed over the mountain of the den. The king sealed the stone with his own royal seal and the seals of his nobles, so that no one could rescue Daniel. Then the king returned to his palace and spent the night fasting. He refused his usual entertainment, and he couldn't sleep at all that night. Very early the next morning, the king got up and hurried out to the lion's den. When he got there, he called out in anguish, Daniel, servant of the living God, was your God who you serve so faithfully able to rescue you from the lions? Daniel chapter 6, verse 21. Daniel answered, long live the king! My God sent his angel to shut the lions' mouths so that they would not hurt me, for I have been found innocent in his sight, and I have not wronged you, your majesty. The king was overjoyed and ordered that Daniel be lifted from the lion's den, and not a scratch was found on him, for he had trusted in his God. Then the king gave orders to arrest the men who had maliciously accused Daniel. He had thrown them into the lion's den along with their wives and children. Yikes. The lions leaped on them and tore them apart before they even hit the floor of the den. Then King Darius sent this message to the people of every race and every nation and language throughout the world. Peace and prosperity to you. I decree that everyone throughout my kingdom should tremble with fear before the God of Daniel. For he is the living God. He will endure forever. His kingdom will never be destroyed, and his rule will never end. He rescues and saves his people. He performs miraculous signs and wonders in the heavens and on earth. He rescued Daniel from the power of the lions, so Daniel prospered during the reign of Darius and the reign of Cyrus the Persian. What a story. And that is something that I love about God. And it's that he won't betray you. And I love about Daniel is that it was illegal for him to pray to God. And what did he do whenever got caught? He was asking for help from God. And my mentor was telling me about this place over in China. There's an underground church. It's illegal to serve God, worship God, pray to God, read the Bible. It's illegal for all of that to happen in China. And there's people doing it. I don't know if it's every day or every week, but these people are not giving up on their God. And, I just pray that he protects them and does for them what he did for Daniel, and God will not forsake you, ever. Let's go back into these notes before we wrap up. We've almost been at an hour. We're doing pretty good now. That story took me a little bit because I can't read. But yes, church, my pastor, Pastor Steve, said something a little bit extreme today. And I loved it. I don't know if you know this about me. I'm an extremist. I'm not like a right-wing extremist or a left-wing extremist. I'm an extremist in every aspect of everything. I like to take things to the highest level possible in every single thing I do. Whether it's football, I want to be the best on my football game. I don't play football in real life. Whether it's my religion, I want everyone to believe what I believe. That's probably not very healthy, and that's probably why I struggle so much with talking with new believers or non-believers. But I like to push the limits, and so when Pastor Steve said this, I thought it was beautiful. But excuse me again, golly, that thing's messing me up today. I think it's because I haven't eaten, but and I'm not fasting. I mean, I guess you could say I'm fasting, but no, I'm not. I've had so much going on today that I haven't had time, and I wanted to make sure I got this because I got somewhere to be in 2 hours. And but yes, he was going over 2 Samuel chapter 23. I'm not gonna go through that because it's a lot. Basically, it's about I don't know his name. I won't lie. I think it's like, I remember thinking it was something like shaman, but it wasn't. It was, let me open this up. I don't even know if I can find this one. I feel like I can though. I'm good at this kind of stuff. Aha! I just opened it up. What's this guy's name? Hold on, getting there. Shema, son of Agi from Harar. Okay, I'll just read this little part from it. Next in rank was Shema, son of Agi from Harar. One time the Philistines gathered at Lehi and attacked the Israelites in a field full of lentils. The Israelite army fled, but Shema held his ground in the middle of the field and beat back the Philistines. So the Lord brought about a great victory. That's the exact verse we went over today. But yes, and so he's talking about the enemy in spiritual warfare, the devil, for those of you who are new here. And he says, we don't just defend ourselves from the devil and our families from the devil. We kill what is trying to kill us. And I mean, you want to talk about some Cobra Kai, man. I mean, I think that's all I have. I wrote down Jonah. If you haven't seen my very first episode, we covered the entire book of Jonah. And, he is great. He acted in fear, and it resulted in torment. He was destroyed, and then he went and trusted God, and it worked out. He ended up getting angry with God because God didn't destroy people, but he said, what if I destroyed you? You ran away from me. You disobeyed me. What if I destroyed you instead of I saved you and gave you another chance? Jonah showed fear, and God showed consequences. David never showed fear, and God showed reward. Daniel never showed fear, and God showed reward. Daniel got saved from the lions. David, as a young boy, defeated Goliath. Everyone knows that story. Other than that, guys, thank you for being here with me. I love doing this, and I think I'm going to truly, I know I said this before, but now I'm truly not making any more music. I'm just going to focus on work, God, and my podcast. And with that being said, I do have a list of drops. I believe my last song will come out in July. July 17th, I think. I'm not even sure what song it is. But that would be my last release. I'm not going to say forever, but definitely for a while. But other than that, yeah, thank y'all for kicking it with me. I hope you enjoyed. Comment down below if you need prayers. I'll pray for you for anything. And don't comment hate, bro. I'm tired of that. Every single thing I post, someone is trying to tell me to convert to Islam or that God's not real, and it's like, dude, you're not gonna convince me through a YouTube comment. If you want, you can, I'm not on social media right now, you can comment down below and, say you want to contact me or something, say you'd like to debate or have a discussion, and I'd love to talk with you. We can do it on the podcast, I'll bring you on, or we could do it on Zoom on the podcast, or anything. But don't sit here and try to convince me to leave my faith through YouTube comments. It's not gonna work. I'm sorry. It's not. I can't even read. Anyways, yeah, so comment below if you need prayers for anything or anything like that. Comment some ideas, comment some people you'd like to see me bring on. It could be a recurring guest, it could be a new guest. Stay faithful and make sure you pray to God. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and I'm going to end it. I'm getting better at the outros. I'm not getting very much better at the intros. I feel like I did pretty good today. Alright, bye.